What if I told you that the path to financial abundance was written thousands of years ago? Imagine holding in your hands a financial blueprint so powerful that it's been creating wealth for millennia. Today, I'm going to share with you 7 biblical habits that have helped countless individuals achieve true financial freedom. And they can transform your life too. Before we dive in, I want to explain the journey we're about to take together. This isn't your typical financial advice video with a clear beginning, middle, and end. Instead, we'll use what I call a wisdom spiral structure. We'll start with the foundational principles of financial abundance and gradually spiral deeper into each habit, adding layers of understanding, practical applications, and biblical wisdom. With each circuit of the spiral, we'll build upon previous insights until we converge at the end with a complete picture of financial abundance that will transform not just your bank account, but your entire approach to life. Have you ever wondered why some people with modest incomes seem financially secure, while others making 6 figures are constantly struggling? The secret isn't in how much you make, but in how you manage what you have. Just as Joseph in Egypt prepared during 7 years of abundance for the 7 years of famine that followed, we too can learn to cultivate habits that lead to lasting financial prosperity. I remember when I was in my 20s making what seemed like good money, yet somehow always finding myself short at the end of the month. I was working hard, but getting nowhere financially. My transformation began when I stopped blaming external circumstances and started implementing these 7 biblical principles that I'm about to share with you. Let's begin with the first habit: living below your means. This principle is foundational to everything else we'll discuss. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." Financial abundance begins with this simple truth. It's not about how much you earn, but how much you keep. When I first encountered this principle, I had to face an uncomfortable reality. I was spending more than I was earning. Despite making what I thought was a good income, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I started tracking every dollar that came in and went out. What I discovered shocked me. I was wasting hundreds of dollars each month on things that brought me no lasting value or joy. Living below your means doesn't mean living a miserable, deprived existence. It means being intentional about your spending. It means distinguishing between wants and needs. Consider this. Research from the Federal Reserve shows that nearly 40% of Americans would struggle to cover an unexpected $400 expense. This isn't just a modern problem. It's the same issue people faced in biblical times, which is why this wisdom was recorded. Here's a practical exercise for you. For the next week before making any purchase, ask yourself, is this bringing me closer to or further from financial abundance? This simple question has saved me thousands of dollars over the years and realigned my spending with my true values. Consider the story of Sarah, a single mother who earned a modest teacher's salary. By carefully budgeting and living intentionally below her means, she managed to save enough for a down payment on a small home within 3 years, something many of her higher-earning colleagues couldn't accomplish because they were caught in the cycle of lifestyle inflation. Now let's spiral deeper into our journey and explore the second habit: multiple income streams. Ecclesiastes 11:2 advises, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land." This ancient wisdom warns against relying on a single source of income. In biblical times, this might have meant planting different crops or engaging in various trades. Today, it could mean having a side business, investments, or passive income sources alongside your main job. When one stream diminishes or dries up completely, others can keep you afloat. I learned this lesson the hard way when I lost my job during an economic downturn. At that time, my entire financial stability depended on that single paycheck. The 3 months of unemployment that followed were some of the most stressful of my life. After securing another job, I vowed never to be in that vulnerable position again. I started small, using skills I already had to create additional income streams. I began freelancing on weekends, then invested in dividend-paying stocks, and eventually created digital products that generated passive income. Each stream started as a trickle, but together they formed a river of financial stability that protected me when my main income fluctuated. Modern research supports this biblical wisdom. According to a study by Tom Corley, author of Rich Habits, 65% of self-made millionaires had 3 streams of income, 45% had 4 streams, and 29% had 5 or more streams. This diversification not only provides security but accelerates wealth building. Here's an exercise to get you started. List 3 skills you have that could generate additional income. Could you teach others, create content, provide services, or turn a hobby into a side business? Start small. Even an extra $100 per month invested wisely can grow significantly over time. As we continue our spiral journey, let's explore the 3rd habit, building an emergency fund. Proverbs 6:8 tells us, "Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest." This passage highlights the importance of preparing for future needs, a principle that applies perfectly to emergency funds. An emergency fund acts as a financial buffer that prevents unforeseen circumstances from derailing your progress. Joseph's story of storing grain during abundant years to prepare for the famine is perhaps the most famous biblical example of this principle in action. When my car's transmission failed unexpectedly, it could have sent me into debt and financial stress. Instead, I had built an emergency fund that covered the $2,000 repair without disrupting my other financial goals. That peace of mind is invaluable. Financial experts typically recommend having 3 or 6 months of essential expenses saved in an accessible account. If that seems overwhelming, start with a goal of $1,000, then build from there. The key is to treat this fund as untouchable, except for true emergencies. Research from the Urban Institute found that households with even a small amount of non-retirement savings, 250,749, are less likely to be evicted, miss a housing or utility payment, or receive public benefits when income disruptions occur. Even a modest emergency fund provides significant financial resilience. I want you to pause right now and imagine how different your life would feel if you had 6 months of expenses safely set aside. Imagine the confidence you'd have in making career decisions, the stress that would disappear from your life, the freedom you'd feel. That peace is available to you through this biblical habit. Now, let's spiral deeper into our 4th habit, investing wisely. Jesus himself taught this principle in the parable of the talents, Matthew 25:14-30, where servants were rewarded for investing and growing their master's money, while the servant who merely preserved what he had was rebuked. Investing means putting your money to work for you, allowing it to grow and multiply over time. It's moving from trading time for money to having your money work even while you sleep. This is the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. I remember being intimidated by investing when I first started. The terminology seemed foreign, and I was afraid of making mistakes. I started with just $50 per month in a simple index fund. That modest beginning has grown significantly over the years through the power of compound interest, what Einstein allegedly called the 8th wonder of the world. Scripture encourages diligence in financial matters, but also wisdom. Proverbs 24:3-4 says, "By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures." Applied to investing, this means educating yourself before committing your resources. A fascinating study by Fidelity Investments found that their most successful individual investors were those who had forgotten they had accounts. They weren't constantly tinkering with their investments or reacting emotionally to market fluctuations. This patience aligns perfectly with biblical principles of steadfastness. Here's a simple exercise to begin your investing journey. Consider allocating 10–15% of your income to long-term investments. If that's not immediately possible, start with whatever percentage you can and increase it gradually as your income grows or expenses decrease. As we continue our spiral journey, we arrive at the 5th habit, pursuing wisdom. Proverbs 4:7 declares, "The beginning of wisdom is this, get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding." This pursuit of knowledge and wisdom is essential for financial abundance. Financial wisdom goes beyond mere technical knowledge about money management. It encompasses understanding human psychology, recognizing patterns, and making decisions based on principles rather than emotions. In biblical times, wisdom was considered more valuable than gold or silver. My own financial education began with reading one personal finance book each month. Over time, this habit transformed my thinking and decision-making. I supplemented my reading with podcasts during my commute and occasionally attended workshops and seminars. This consistent pursuit of wisdom has provided returns far greater than any single investment I've made. Research from the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, shows that individuals with higher financial literacy are more likely to have emergency funds, less likely to use high-cost borrowing methods, and more effective at investing. Each increment of financial knowledge translates directly into improved financial outcomes. I encourage you to develop your own wisdom-gathering system, subscribe to one quality financial newsletter, commit to reading one book each quarter, or join a community of like-minded individuals focused on financial growth. Remember, in the information age, ignorance is a choice. Here's a reflective exercise for you. Think about your most recent financial decision. What information did you use to make it? What additional knowledge might have improved that decision? Use this reflection to identify your next area of financial learning. As our spiral deepens, we discover the sixth habit: consistency and small steps. Zechariah 4:10 asks, "Who dares despise the day of small things?" This verse reminds us that significant achievements often begin with modest actions consistently applied. Financial abundance rarely happens overnight. It's built through thousands of small decisions made consistently over time. It's the daily habit of tracking expenses, the monthly ritual of reviewing your budget, the annual practice of adjusting your financial plan. When I first committed to financial transformation, I felt overwhelmed by how far I needed to go. My mentor wisely advised me to focus on just one new financial habit each month. The first month, I simply tracked my spending. The next month, I created a budget. The following month, I automated my savings. These small steps were manageable, but their cumulative impact has been transformative. Behavioral economics research supports this approach. Studies show that habit formation typically takes 66 days, not the 21 days often cited. By focusing on one small financial habit at a time and practicing it consistently for 2 months, you're more likely to create lasting change. Consider the biblical principle of sowing and reaping found in Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Financial abundance comes from consistently sowing seeds of wise financial decisions. Each small action is a seed that will eventually bear fruit. I invite you to identify one small financial habit you can begin today. Perhaps it's setting aside $5 daily, reviewing your spending weekly, or reading 10 pages of a financial book before bed. The key is consistency, not magnitude. As we near the completion of our spiral journey, we arrive at the seventh habit: building community. Proverbs 15:22 observes, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed." Financial abundance is rarely achieved in isolation. It flourishes in the context of supportive community. In biblical times, economic activities were community-centered. Farming, trading, and craftsmanship all happened within the context of community relationships. Modern research shows this wisdom remains relevant. Our financial behaviors are strongly influenced by our social circles. I've experienced this firsthand through a financial accountability group I joined 8 years ago. We meet monthly to share goals, celebrate wins, troubleshoot challenges, and hold each other accountable. This community has kept me on track during difficult times and accelerated my progress during favorable ones. A study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that individuals are more likely to achieve financial goals when they share those goals with others who hold them accountable. We're simply more committed when we know someone else is watching our progress. Your financial community might include a mentor, a spouse or partner, a financial advisor, or a group of friends with similar goals. The key is to intentionally create relationships that support your financial growth rather than hinder it. Here's a challenging question. Are the 5 people you spend the most time with financially healthier than you want to be? If not, how might you expand your circle to include those who can elevate your financial thinking? As we complete our wisdom spiral, we've journeyed through 7 biblical habits that create financial abundance: living below your means, creating multiple income streams, building an emergency fund, investing wisely, pursuing wisdom, maintaining consistency, and building community. Together, these habits form a powerful framework for financial transformation. But knowledge without action is merely information. It's application that leads to transformation. That's why I want to challenge you to a 30-day financial abundance jumpstart. For the next month, commit to implementing just one aspect of each habit we've discussed. Track every dollar you spend to live below your means. Brainstorm and research one additional income stream. Open a separate emergency fund account and make your first deposit. Learn about one investment vehicle that interests you. Read 10 pages of a financial book daily. Establish one daily financial habit and practice it consistently. Have one conversation about your financial goals with someone you trust. This 30-day challenge isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Small actions consistently applied create massive results over time. As Proverbs 13:11 reminds us, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Remember, financial abundance isn't just about accumulating wealth. It's about creating a life of freedom, generosity, and purpose. Biblical financial principles work not because they're magical, but because they align with how reality functions. They acknowledge human nature while elevating us to our higher potential. I'd love to hear about your journey implementing these habits. In the comments below, share which of these 7 habits you're committing to work on first. If you found value in today's video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from these timeless principles. Until next time, remember that the path to financial abundance isn't a secret. It's a system of habits practiced consistently over time. You have everything you need to begin that journey today. I believe in you, and more importantly, the wisdom that has guided generations before us believes in the power of these principles to transform your financial future. Thank you for joining me on this wisdom spiral. I'll see you in the next video.